my friends, my YouTube family everywhere. Once again, this is Jason Cosmic RSSP Authority. Now, my present subscribers, as I always say, you guys know what RSSP stands for, right? But for people new to my channel, it stands for Real Secret Space Program. Way up there in space. That's right. Where I try to bring transparency and truth on what the hell is going on with the Real Secret Space Program. And as you guys know who have watched my videos, it involves a whole kaleidoscope of different topics, doesn't it? And I think it's the most fascinating subject and topics of our times, my friends. And it involves clean, alternative, free energies, because these military UFOs, for example, anybody with reason, logic, common sense, and anybody who knows just a little bit about physics, you know they're not relying on rockets, right? Absolutely not, guys. But you know what we're going to talk about today? And it relates directly to military UFOs in a way, guys. It really does. Well, we're going to talk about the CIA again. I think it's so important to do another video on the CIA, guys. I'm going to do a whole series on it, I think, on the Central Intelligence Agency. Absolutely. And I'm going to show you the importance of why I believe we need a whole new awareness campaign over the United States intel agencies, guys. We absolutely do. Especially if we want to grow a culture in society, you know, to sustain ethical leadership. We got to call out these guys, my friends. You know, these shadow groups inside these structures. So, before we go on though, real quick guys, just a quick reminder. If you guys do think I have genuine knowledge to share and help humanity in my own unique way and style, because I am trying to be bold, honest, open, and true, right from the heart, guys. And I'm being intellectually honest with my work. I'm doing the best I can, and I'm a hardcore researcher. You know, my life goal, as I've always said, everyone, is to try to help us penetrate this black budget technology. And there's very few people on our precious planet that have noble intentions in trying to do that, guys, and yet it's vital. It's absolutely vital for our society, my friends, to get this clean alternative energy finally integrated in society, and that means to get a fundamental understanding of these free energy generation propulsion systems, and get an awareness, again, of the US intel agencies, therefore, of the deep black program contractors and what the hell they're up to. I mean, these are serious issues, guys, you know, and it's only going to help our world once we get to the truth of these matters, because we've been lied to long enough, guys. We're talking 60, 70 years, man, where the governments, the deep black program contractors, and the CIA have lied to us time and time again, guys, and they distort reality. So again, guys, if you appreciate my efforts here in trying to bring transparency, awareness, and truth, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. That's my point, okay, too. And give me that thumbs up. Feel free to share my videos. And I don't have my church bell with me, but hit it, would you? So you can be notified for future videos. Now let's get into it after that ramble, okay? The CIA, I'm going to try to, again, give you guys a timeline and give you the foundational underpinnings of when the CIA started, and we'll bring it right forward up to today, guys, and talk about some of their actions, okay? And they're not good, generally speaking. Not good at all, my friends. So the CIA, when was it created? When was it formed? And why was it created? Well, like I said in the other video, guys, the CIA, we know, was formed in 1947 under the Truman Act, the National Security Act, right? Truman created the CIA. But here's the thing, guys, you know, it never ceases to amaze me. We know that just 4 years later, what did Truman say to the world, guys? He regretted his decision for forming the CIA, right? He said, literally, it was a mysterious, sinister agency casting a shadow on our position of historic freedoms. Think about that line, guys. That's absolutely right. You see, Truman knew the CIA right from the beginning, practically, guys. They had become a rogue agency. For example, nowhere in the documents when the CIA was created, nowhere did it say that they could do covert operations in the US or abroad. But by deference they did, to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. They were doing covert operations with no restrictions whatsoever, guys, right? And now we know, you know, in the decades since, they've become more unconstrained and out of control largely than ever, you know? And this is why I'm doing these videos, guys. You know, there's been some researchers out there, and I give them credit, that have talked about the CIA. We need people to be courageous and just, you know, and tell the truth of what the hell's going on with the intel agencies, guys. And we got to look at their actions, you know. Don't be confused by lamestream media, as I always say, my friends, right? There's so much brain distraction, so many lies, orchestrated strategic distractions. There's so many psyops by the governments. I mean, it's incredible, right? I just had a beautiful neighbor just give me the thumbs up. Thank you, sweetheart. See, she knows, guys, that I'm trying to fight for our freedoms, you know. She knows about my videos. And again, I'm not perfect, of course, guys, right? But we need more of us, I think, to try to have intelligent discourse on these all-important issues. And as we go along in this video, guys, you're going to see why we need a whole new awareness campaign, I believe, over the CIA. And that means elements of the NSA, the NRO, the Deep Black Program Contractors, guys. And of course, you got the corporate intelligence community as well. And this means, you know, and also elements of the Air Force and the Navy, guys. Because I want you to remember one thing. And don't ever forget this. I think I said it in the last video, guys, but I think it's worth repeating. It is the mandate of the CIA, the NSA, the NRO, the Deep Black Program Contractors. It is the mandate of them to lie, deny, and deceive at the expense of American taxpayers, guys. Absolutely, don't ever forget that. And of course, that affects millions of people worldwide. They have influence and they affect my beautiful people, my powerful country in Canada, and again, all of our allies, guys. Because remember, the CIA, right, they have huge influence and they're trying to dominate in countries worldwide. We know this, right? They inject themselves in the Middle East, elements of the CIA, NSA, NRO, the Deep Black Program Contractors. They create ethnic wars. They help to create ethnic wars around the world, guys. This is a fact, man. Look at Lockheed Martin, guys. Remember, elements of the CIA will be, you know, they'll have an intimate role with Lockheed Martin, unfortunately. Lockheed Martin, we know, are the biggest arms dealer in the world, guys, between Lockheed Martin and then you got Raytheon. They're the two top arms dealers in the world, guys, okay? Well, you don't think they're creating ethnic wars? Look at the war in Iraq, guys. I'm already bringing it up to today, right? I went to 1947 when they were created, but before I forget, guys, we all know the CIA lied to the governments to instigate us to go to war in Iraq. We know this. It's a known fact, right? With weapons of mass destruction. So this is what they do, my friends, all to try to exercise dominant control over global populations. And we know largely it's to control those oil fields. It's the petrodollar system, guys, right? Our whole infrastructure, not just our infrastructure, but our financial systems, you know, we're enslaved to the petrodollar, guys. And this is why, again, I'm trying to penetrate this black budget technology, guys, and talk about it with you and share with the information with each other, guys, because we don't need to be enslaved to petrol, stinking oil, gas, and coal anymore, guys. We just have to talk about it. And we have to override eventually the intelligence agencies, but we can do it, guys. We just have to coalesce our ideas and thinking, as I always say, right? And then we can manifest a true beauty for ourselves. We got to override the intelligence agencies and the Deep Black Program Contractors. We can actually help them, guys, to compel them to tell us the truth. They have not been courageous, my friends, all right? They have not been, they're just, I'll give you an example. Lockheed Martin, guys, I've always said, and there's good people in Lockheed Martin, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm talking about the shadow greedy groups, some of the petro-Nazi American British misanthropic money hoarders in these structures, guys, okay? But they've been largely unencumbered and divorced from any accountability and responsibility, okay? We know it. I mean, look at the F35 scam, guys. Where's the, see if I can find a picture of the plane. I did a whole series on the F35. I hope you guys watched it. The biggest scam on taxpayers in history with this turkey plane, guys. I laugh, that's why I have it on my shirt, right? See? And here's the black triangles, the TR-3B out of the Aurora space program. This is the black budget technology, guys. This is free energy, exotic fuel systems, not the F-35. But Lockheed Martin are the prime contractor for both, guys. Don't ever forget that. And if you watch past videos, I show you that Lockheed Martin are the prime contractors. But the F-35, guys, this is the biggest scam. They've got 9 other nations now invested in this ridiculous turkey plane. It is a turkey plane, guys. It's just ludicrous, okay? No nation, particularly America, Canada, or any of our allies, they don't need a fleet of F-35s, guys. It's absolutely ridiculous. But this is what Lockheed Martin have done. Lockheed Martin's propaganda machine, and again, elements of the CIA, NSA, NRO, they have conned all these nations to go in the investment in this thing, guys. This is how, what the world has come to. The military are out of control, guys. And we've got to call them on it. We could do it respectfully, but firmly, my friends. And as we go along in this video, guys, I'm going to talk about one of the good guys in the CIA. But first I want to go to the 1960s, guys, because, whenever you talk about the real secret space program and military UFO flying programs, I always go back to Eisenhower too, guys, in the 1960s. And when you talk about these dark projects, because this is where it starts, guys, in these unacknowledged special access programs and projects, these dark projects, the military UFO flying programs. Well, Eisenhower, what did he say, guys? Remember I said in the last video, he told the world, he said, beware of the military-industrial complex. And why would he say that? Well, it was because he was being left out of the integrated, operational plans that were going on, and he was being left out of the loop, on any information to do with the black projects, guys. Here's a 3 or 4 star general, and he couldn't even get, again, guys, the segmented, integrated operational plans of what the hell was going on, even with, with America possibly going to nuclear war with Russia, So he was just being used as a puppet, basically, guys. And he was trying to, he had noble intentions to try to get at truth for the world, And this is what they do, my friends. We have not had great ethical leadership since somebody like Eisenhower and particularly John F. Kennedy. He was another believer in freedom, guys, Since then, all the presidents have largely been used, as they say, as puppets, as shills for the CIA, guys. So, my friends, it's all about how do we get our power and sovereignty back, right? How do we have global vigilance for victory, as I always say, my friends? Well, we got to wake up. We just got to take the blinders off, and we got to call out these shadow groups, my friends, and we got to decapitate some of these evil, death-dealing forces out there, guys. If we want to grow a culture and society to sustain ethical leadership, and most of us do, then we've just got to see their actions, my friends, and we got to talk about them, right? And we got to ask the right questions and change our behavior as well, because we're responsible as the public, my friends. Let's stop with the willful ignorance, let's stop with the apathy, and let's be hyper vigilant, my friends. That's what it's going to take. We've got to be hyper vigilant and take action. We could still enjoy our entertainment, and things like that, but let's be passionate about these all-important issues, my friends, and let's make a revolution. I've always said for you Americans out there, for example, because we're talking largely the United States, the empire of the United States, with the huge military and this massive, black budget, this hidden secret system of finance, the military UFO flying programs. I always say, I'm trying to compel you Americans, why don't you do a peaceful march there right in front of Washington? And just have picket signs, have your signs up and say, we want our divine right for the world to have this black budget technology, these free energies. That's what it's going to take, guys. All you have to do is do a march, man. Just like in Vietnam, right? But nobody's done it, and I don't understand. It's inexplicable to me why you guys haven't done that, Anyway, that's just my thoughts there, my friends. And us Canadians, we could join you in marches. I mean, again, you could have signs saying we've been lied to 70 years, guys. That's when they made that first gravity breakthrough, man, 7 years ago. All right? Now, I just want to mention one of the good guys in the CIA, my friends, because I always add a qualifier. There's still good people in the CIA that are caught in the systems, okay? I'm not saying everybody in the CIA is evil, all right? So they never have to be mad at me. But when you've got an organization that relies so much on secrecy, I mean, they'll tell you guys, and same with the military. If you talk one-on-one with them, they're going to admit to you, if they're half honest, the secrecy is absolutely off the charts. That we've got a schizophrenic wall of secrecy, my friends. And it's very dangerous too, because as I said in other videos, this secrecy, this divergence between the people in the know and the people who don't know, it's caused enormous privileges for the people that are in the know, guys. And privileges are the most wasteful thing that you can have for an economy. And I've said this before, because it can literally destroy so much optimization within an economy that it can shrink the wealth of the people with the privileges, guys. Yes, it can be that destructive. And that's all the more reason why we need to have intelligent discourse, my friends. And let's get to the truth on these all important issues, as I said, right? So here's a book, guys. This is Kevin Shipp. He's one of the former good guys. He used to work for the CIA. And it says, From the Company of Shadows. Now, I haven't even read the entire book, guys, but I've watched his interviews, and I'll be reading the entire book. And I might even share this book with some friends. And he's trying, from my understanding, guys, he's trying to give you sort of a fundamental understanding of the structures of the deep state shadow governments and how they operate. And of course, there's certain things that he doesn't get into, unfortunately. He won't go into the covert weaponry that the United States have, you know, and things like that, unfortunately. He's telling you everything he thinks he legally can, okay? But he's trying to bring a lot of awareness, guys, and I give him credit. So there's one of the good guys of the CIA. And I'll tell you an interesting story. Apparently in the book, the CIA, apparently they pulled one of their diva moves again because, or elements of the CIA, because in the book, apparently, they banned him from covering a story. I guess back early in his career or before he retired, he was exposing some sort of fraud or something to do with the computer systems of what he was working on. I think something to do with that anyway. And you know what they did? Some group, and it was probably his CIA, they actually put poison on his ceiling. That's right. And they didn't know he had an infrared camera, apparently. To this day, he doesn't know what poison it was, but he knew there was some sort of poison, and I guess it made his son sick. That's right. I mean, unbelievable, right? I don't know if his son's still sick to this day, so naturally that would make this guy irate. So he's doing what he can to bring awareness, again, guys, to what the hell's going on with the CIA, the deep state shadow governments, okay? So anyway, they banned him from writing this in the book, but you can go to a code, apparently, in the book. I can't wait to get to it. And I don't know if you Google it, but there's a way of finding out the story of what happened. So I think that's very interesting, right? Enlightening to find, you know, to learn about an encapsulated view there of a former CIA guy, okay? And I'll tell you a funny story, my friends. It's so funny in that it's so outrageous. You guys know, if you watch my video on the missing trillions, you know, exposing the budgetary, farce there going on in the United States of all the missing trillions, it's just astronomical, the numbers, guys. But if you watch that video, I did a series on it actually, then you'll know that I followed the line of some research from the great Catherine Austin Fitts. Now, Catherine, she's such an important person, my friends, because for 15 years, she's trying to bring transparency and awareness to some of these important issues, that being on the money aspect, guys, because she's a financial expert. And remember, she has the experience. She worked under George W. Bush, and she was secretary for none other than HUD, House and Urban Development, guys. Okay, so she was seeing a lot of this money disappearing, all right? And I talk a lot about her. Well, I'll tell you a funny CIA story that she told, guys, because here is a woman and a financial expert that has looked at the covert side. She doesn't look quite deeply as I do. As I've always told you guys, I just might have an informant at Lockheed Martin to help me. You never know. And I may have been involved in a classified project or two, but we're not going to get into details. Anyway, so Fitts tells you, I mean, she's looked at the covert side, she's dealt with the covert side. And here's an example, guys. I'll tell you a funny story that dealing with the CIA. She was, back in the day under George W. Bush, she used to do scenario designing, okay, for Hamilton Securities. That was her company. So one of the guys at the CIA were so enthralled with their systems and what they were doing with scenario designing, they brought a group over. Okay, so this group, they're sitting at a table, and the front person at the table says, "Oh, hi, Catherine, welcome, Fitz," something to that effect, and then a woman that was sitting at the table. Sorry, Catherine was doing in front of this group. Sorry, she was doing a speech. Here's something very important to say, guys. First of all, she was doing a speech on how do you refinance a community, bringing in private equity and lowering the cost of government, and bringing in systems, etc. That was basically the gist of her speech. And a woman speaks up. Again, this is CIA, guys, a woman for the CIA. Catherine knew that this person had it out for her, the way the woman was looking at her apparently from the beginning. And then she speaks up and she says, do you have any idea where evil comes from? And Catherine says, no, you want to tell me? And the woman said no more. So obviously she knows, guys, right? She's saying the CIA. I mean, isn't that crazy, outrageous, guys? Just because Catherine was trying to bring, I guess she was trying to help, again, to how do you refinance the community, bringing in private equity, lowering the cost of government, bringing in systems, etc. And this woman speaks up and says, do you have any idea where evil comes from? So again, guys, it shows you some of these shadow groups in the CIA, that's exactly where a lot of the evil comes from in our world today, my friends. I've always said, let's not let the CIA shape in our future, guys, right? Absolutely, we cannot let the CIA shape in their future, and yet a lot of ways, my friends, they are. With the F35 scam, with a lot of the ethnic wars that are going on, with the way they distort reality, and all the egregious lies coming out from elements of the CIA, guys. They absolutely are, Again, guys, if we want to grow a culture and society to sustain ethical leadership, then we should be going along with the CIA antics, and we need to call them out, guys. Respectfully, but again, firmly, we can do it, my friends, all right? And when I talked about the missing trillions, guys, I told you before, I've got a lot of friends that watch a lot of mainstream corporate media, and they're very intelligent people. But, when you watch a lot of mainstream media, these guys often think congressmen and senators are all powerful, right? In the governments. Well, they're not. When it comes to military UFO flying programs, for example, guys, very few congressmen, senators, high-level government, and military officials even know what the hell's going on, guys. Most of these people do not, because they're not read into these programs. Again, my friends, we're talking about a higher echelon of society. We're talking about the people that are in the know. And we're talking about a society that, my friends, even at the very, very highest echelons of the so-called, these corporate elitists, for example, right? We're talking about a society that at times can literally implement their will, whether it be personnel files, whether it be, mind control technology, whether it be the amazing technology like electronic harassment. I told you that happened in China and in Cuba, right? Where they literally have the technology patented where they can do it from the space orbital platforms. They can send scalar wave technology through walls right to your brain tissue, make you sick, guys. And that happened to the politicians in Cuba. They came back to the United States. So, and it usually goes back to the military-industrial complex, guys. Whatever group, they carried out their agenda, right? So, we got to be aware of this, guys. This happens, and it happened in China. So, again, guys, we're talking about society, whether it be personnel files, mind control technology, electronic harassment, whether it be threatening or killing your loved ones. We're talking about a society, my friends, that even at the very highest echelons, and with this hidden secret system of finance, it has literally created a secret slavery system that is part of servicing and running the secret financial system. I don't ever forget that, guys, because this is so true. And we're going to do whole videos on slavery, guys. And again, it relates to elements of the CIA often, okay? Slavery has been never more prevalent for some of these corporate elitists and these shadow groups, guys. And we need to talk about it. So many people are just pretending it isn't happening, but it is, guys, okay? So I wanted to share that with you. Before we go today, guys, I just want to briefly show you some future videos that we're going to talk about, God willing, my friends. We're going to talk about Joe Rogan. I'm about to watch UFC this Saturday night because I'm all about masculinity and I love sports. And Joe Rogan, he does a great job often commentating on UFC, so I give him credit there. But his podcast, my friends, he's got the largest podcast in the world, right? He's the biggest influencer for the information. Well, guess who's behind the curtains, guys, calling a lot of the shots in his podcast often? It's a lot of corporations and it's CIA, guys. And we got to be aware. The CIA are calling certain agendas, behind Joe Rogan's podcast. And Rogan will know it, and British intelligence as well. And there's a young guy, I'll get his name for you guys one day. He did a great video, and it was called Joe Rogan Exposed. We're gonna do a video similar, guys, and he shows you how the CIA operate, you know, with Joe Rogan's podcast. In other words, guys, the CIA have an incestuous relationship with corporate mainstream media and guys like Joe Rogan. So be aware of that. And in future video, guys, thanks, man. Future videos, we're going to talk about some of the CIA dirty players that they put out there, I believe, guys. People like Stephen Greer, who in some ways he does some good work, but this idiot, in my opinion, he's an idiot, he's a charlatan, he's a liar, and he's just another, he's working for layers of the CIA, guys. And you know why we know it? Well, the biggest tell is the guy spins it for ET, man. He's telling you that all these UFOs, at least some of them, are ET, that we have all these intelligent civilizations coming here. This is what this guy's story is. And yet, he's got serious disclosure, right, guys? He brags how he's had, what, 1.6 billion views or people on Netflix that have watched his programming. Remember Serious Disclosure? Well, guys, who is behind the curtains putting Stephen Greer out for this whole marketing merchandise scheme? It's the CIA, my friends, right? Because remember, guys, the CIA, they always spin it for ET when it comes to military UFOs, right? They're never honest, they won't be courageous yet, and tell you it's all military UFOs. So they use a guy like him for perception management to disorient you and lie to you on that, guys, okay? Don't be confused. It's all military UFOs, my friends. I will never vacillate from my conviction that it's all military UFOs, guys. You never need an ET explanation for all the trillions of dollars flying around in our skies and in space, guys, okay? And guys, the truth of the matter is too, though, it's still, we live in such a remarkable, exciting, privileged era, don't we? Where we are still on the cusp of this generation to finally find out, are we alone or not? You know, I think it'll most likely be microbial life that we're going to find the next few years, guys, hopefully, or the next 10 years. That'll be a game changer. And I think there probably is other intelligent civilizations elsewhere. But to say that, you know, that they are flying some of these hardwares, you know, I think that that's not true, guys. It's all military UFOs. And we're going to let astronomers and cosmologists, people with noble intentions trying to find extraterrestrial life, let them do their job. But we don't need liars like the snake Stephen Greer. Look at this guy. If he doesn't look like he's CIA, guys, look at him in front of the White House. Look at this guy and listen to what he spouts off. If this guy isn't CIA, if he isn't a CIA puppet, I don't know what is, my friends. He absolutely is a CIA puppet, guys. I truly believe that. And he's doing that. He admits to you, guys, he tells you he's doing a diplomatic effort in the face of humanity. Right? He says he wants to get people together for a diplomatic effort so that we can end the hegemony of covert programs, the secrecy on covert programs on the issue, meaning, you know, UFOs. And he says, and so we can make contact, peaceful contact in the face of humanity, meaning with intelligent civilizations. This guy spouts off so much garbage, I can't believe that actually some people buy into it. A lot of people know he's a liar, and you can read comments, you know, they say he's a charlatan and a liar. It's great that people don't buy into bullshit, but a lot of people still believe this guy. You know, the true believers out there. Well, they need to wake up, because this guy, my friends, he's just involved in, I describe it as a diplomatic CIA strategic PSYOP, guys, and parts of the deep black program Contractors. Actually, it's more CIA, guys, because he's not even operating in the military arena. It's all for U.S. interests, guys. Don't ever forget that. It's like U.S. psychological operations. He's involved in a diplomatic strategic PSYOP for the U.S. government. He absolutely is, guys, and it's all for perception management. So don't buy into his lies and bullshit about ET. That's my point, guys, okay? And we'll do future videos on what a PSYOP is, okay? Because it's very important. And finally, guys, we're gonna do future videos on the Space Force again. I did cool, I had somebody help me with cool Photoshop thumbnails for the Space Force. Unfortunately, I didn't get a lot of views. I still wonder, why is YouTube not seemingly promoting my videos very well? Is it because I'm providing a lot of transparency and truth? I don't have the answers. But I hope you guys, I know with your support, we can take this channel to a whole new level. I'm a serious, hardcore researcher fighting for the freedom of humanity, guys, for us, the public, okay? Most of us deserve the truth on these issues, guys. And the Space Force, you better believe, particularly Lockheed Martin and the intelligence agencies within the military, they're all over the Space Force. And they're gonna probably get this off the ground, guys. They're going to con Congress, they'll buy them out, do whatever they have to do, because Trump is in his administration and elements of the CIA, NSA, NRO, Lockheed Martin. They know the big move is the space-based economy. Absolutely, without a doubt. Again, a remarkable, exciting, privileged era we live in, my friends, right? The era of space travel, space exploration. We got major space investment, major space programs going on in all the powerful countries. It's such exciting times. And what's so wonderful about it, right, guys, is, and we're going to do whole videos on the space-based economy, but it's going to take a collaborative multipolar model, meaning joining nations together to go into space, to be productive in space, guys, right? It's not going to be a unipolar model. And yet, when I discuss the Space Force like I did last time, guys, and we'll do it again, Trump's speech, and I'm going to quote it verbatim what his speech was there last year when he introduced the Space Force, guys. It's such a bad joke, man. It was a total unipolar model, the way he was talking about, you know, with the US being dominance in space and all this crap. He talked nothing about joining other nations together, guys. So my point is, if we're going to allow the Space Force to be operational, guys, we have got to get our divine right once and for all for this black budget technology, right? The free energy generation propulsion systems. Because they're not going to be relying on rockets to do their clandestine operations in space. We know that, right, guys? So let's get to the truth. Let's demand from the US leadership and government, because we're talking the United States here, and obviously this means Britain and Europe as well, but let's compel these governments to finally tell us the truth on the black budget technology, guys, on military UFOs. Again, my friends, because they've lied to us for 70 years, man. 70 years, guys, we're going on. It's just, it's absolutely asinine. It's so outrageous, guys. And we could help compel them, because I think, guys, you see, I've always said, you see, they would like to be able to explain away this cover-up if they could, because I think part of the push now to go into space, I've always said, is they want to transfer out of the black budget technology, which is going to help build the industrial base, which is greatly going to expand productivity to support us going into space, guys. And that's why we just got to compel the US leadership of government and the deep black program contractors, Lockheed Martin in particular, and we know Boeing, Northrop Grumman, they're doing classified projects too, but guys, we've got to compel them to be honest. You see, they're having great difficulty, as I've always said, explaining away this cover-up. Because how does the government and leadership, right, and defense contractors, CIA are responsible, of course, too. How do they explain away stealing exorbitant amount of money, trillions of dollars basically over the decades out of US taxpayers' pockets? That means millions of people all across Europe, guys. How do they explain away that? And how do they explain away, you know, again, using exorbitant amount of resources for military UFOs, silver, gold, base metals, all this stuff, but the money in particular, guys, and how do they explain away doing all these illegal operations, right? And transferring the technology to all the private corporations, guys, right? I told you the biggest, this danger, a very dangerous change in the government structure the last several decades, and really since the Eisenhower years, guys, has been, and this is very, very clear, guys, if you look at it, the governments no longer own and control the military technology, guys. This is very important to understand, right? They no longer own and control it because it's all buried and it's managed and owned and controlled by the private corporations, guys, right? Because the military, they use the private corporations that are often affiliated and contracted within the military, you see? That way they can hide everything. They can hide the money, they can hide the people, and this means slave labor too, guys, believe me. And they can hide the technology, guys, and the money. They can do it all. They're above congressional oversight. You know, when it comes to the defense contractors, for example, guys, they're not subject to the same, you know, government disclosure requirements, right? Fitz knows this as well. So again, guys, we've got to get transparency and truth from our leaders. And remember one thing, guys, I want to end this video by telling you this, that it all goes back to the US Constitution. We see the CIA time and time again, they are trying to conquer and divide the population. They have been stripping away and just making a laughingstock of the Constitution. It's crazy, guys. We've got to fight for those amazing values that came out of the Scottish Enlightenment, and that's our US Constitution, you US American citizens out there, and that affects us Canadians, and again, all of our allies, guys. Remember, the US Constitution, it says that our rights come from us by divine creation, right? And our right to freedom, liberty, happiness, peace, that comes to us by divine authority. And we have the rights to build and take down governments. You see, guys, if they're not going to be honest, then you have that ability. Take down and build governments if necessary, and the respect from the combination of property rights and individual rights. That was also a miraculous covenant, guys. And Catherine, I totally agree with Fitz. She knows this as well, my friends. Right? We've got to fight for that, guys, because again, there's so much enslavement going on, and treason and fraud, waste, mismanagement. It's absolutely off the charts, guys, and the dysfunction. And that's why, even Catherine Austin Fitz, she subscribes partly to the Churchill, Winston Churchill approach. Tell the people, because it's certainly a lot better, as I say, than the fraud, waste, theft, and mismanagement, abuse of spending that's been going on, guys, right? Year after year, decade after decade, particularly in the United States, but again, in other powerful sovereign nations as well. And by the way, guys, this black bunch of technology that I'm going to break down for you the best way I can in future videos, and I've done it before. These, the TR-3B that comes out of the Aurora space program, like I said, guys, and other UFOs. This is trans-international, my friends, okay? It's not just America that has massive military UFO flying programs, and therefore massive off-planet covert investment going on. I've always told you guys for decades, at least since the early 1960s, guys, they've been doing massive covert investment and industrializing the moon. There's no doubt about it, okay? And that's the biggest lie to humanity. They keep telling you, oh, well, we're about to industrialize the moon. No, the military have been doing it covertly, guys. Once you know they made the gravity breakthrough, and I show you that timeline of the gravity research that was going on, guys, and I show you the breakthrough in the 1950s, you know that they create exoatmospheric vehicles, as I show by the evidence, guys, that swiftly move into space, okay? This has been what's been going on, and we deserve the truth on all of it, my friends. And now we know they've been going to Mars since the 1970s, our near celestial bodies, no question, all right? Yes, it's amazing, right? So we'll get into the technology, guys, but China and Russia have massive military UFO flying programs as well. But I still think the United States are ahead of the game, largely. But again, guys, we need a whole new awareness campaign over the actions of the CIA, largely, okay? And the defense contractors. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you subscribe. I'm going to have Patreon and hopefully my PayPal account linked in the description. Anybody that wants to support my channel. And I hope some of you out there that like to do Photoshop thumbnails and have some technological savvy, because your fitness captain, he doesn't have any technological savvy hardly, but I could use some help with Photoshop thumbnails if any of you are interested in doing that, okay? And I could use a new video camera, those that may want to support me through Patreon. I'd really appreciate it. I had some subscribers, thankfully, that were, they asked me, how do I donate? They asked me this months ago, and I didn't have a Patreon account linked up. I didn't even know how you do it. So hopefully this will be linked up correctly this time, guys, finally. And I'll have my Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff down below. And my friends, finally, I'll just tell you, once again, I'll link the live stream. I did an amazing podcast theater with none other than Joe from the Carolinas about a year ago. We've had almost 3,000 views. I think it was the most powerful, electrifying live streams podcast theater ever done, guys. And he titled it, I believe it was it was titled Secret Space Program Culture, Controversial Interview, I believe, guys. You could check out the link. I think you'll find it hopefully very entertaining, even though the lighting was horrible on me. But Joe asked me some great questions, guys, and we didn't talk directly about the CIA, but you'll see, we definitely talked about the secrecy, we talked about the missing trillions, we got right into it, and a little bit on the technology as well, guys. We talked about a wide range of topics, again, that relates to the real secret space program, guys. And remember, the F-35, the biggest scam, the biggest social, moral injustice going on in our world today, I believe, guys, with over $1 trillion spent on a turkey plane that we absolutely do not need, guys, right? Well, remember, a lot of this money, my friends, that gets deciphered off into much more highly classified projects and vehicles like the TR-3B, guys, and Lockheed Martin, the prime contractors. Don't ever forget that, okay? Don't ever be deceived, my friends. I think they've spent up to $1.5 trillion on the Turkey F-35 plane now, okay? And us Canadians, you know how much money we spent on this plane, guys? We'll do a whole series on it again. I found out, I dug into Canada's involvement, we spent over $500 billion for 20 years on this thing, invested in it, and we didn't even know it would ever fly. That's why I get so exasperated, guys. You see the dysfunction and fraud and waste and mismanagement? You know, my buddy Michael Schratt, the great aerospace aircraft historian, he tells you the same thing, guys. He knows it's a scam, the F-35, the biggest scam on taxpayers. So does Pure Spray. Even I give credit to corporate media for once, guys. 60 Minutes and other, big newscasts, they did a good job sort of showing the fraud of the F-35 scam. They were $163 billion over budget, guys. Back in, 2016, I think it was reported, $163 billion over budget. They were 8 years behind schedule. They didn't even have the guns up. I mean, guys, you see the fraud? It's just off the charts, and we've got to stop this nonsense. And we can do it, guys. We absolutely can. Let's, again, global vigilance for victory, my friends. I hope you subscribe. I hope you give me the thumbs up, share my videos, and leave a comment if you want, by the way, guys. I read the comments. I appreciate your engagement. Even if it's constructive criticism, I can handle it. I think I might even have a CIA troll on my channel. On my other YouTube shirt, it was wrinkled, and some guy comes on and he says, "Your shirt's so wrinkled, it looks like it came out of a tomato can." Maybe he's a CIA troll, who knows, guys. Anyway, guys, we've got to call out these evil shadow groups, my friends. And we've got to grow a culture in society, ultimately, to sustain ethical leadership. And we can do it, my friends. We've just got to, as I say, coalesce our ideas and thinking, have intelligent discourse on these important issues, and provide transparency and truth. It's as simple as that, guys. And it'll be a culture shift, cultural drive, but we can ultimately make a societal shift and make a revolutionary, profound, transformative change for our world, my friends. Because this clean alternative free energy, remember, it will help beautify our planet in 10 years or so in ways we can't even begin to imagine, guys. And that's reason, logic, common sense, right? Because it's clean, alternative free energy. They sure as hell ain't relying on oil and gas, guys, okay? And remember, elements of the CIA, NSA, NRO, the Deep Black Program, contractors, elements of the shadow government, deep state, for example, guys, they've enslaved us to stinky oil, gas, and coal for what, 60 plus years when we haven't needed it, my friends. Any researcher with a grain of salt will tell you that, right? Enough is enough. It's time to revolutionize this world for the better, guys, right? And we can do it. And it's going to improve ways of travel. I mean, we'll be able to travel anywhere around the world in an hour or less, guys. And they were already predicting that, by the way, in the 1950s. Yes, guys, with all the technology and the breakthroughs they were making and that gravity research, guys, and harnessing that zero-point energy that we'll get into what that means, guys. But they were telling you in the 1950s, that's what they would be able to do. We'd travel anywhere around the world in an hour or less, guys. Okay? Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great day. Hope you subscribe. More great videos to come. Bye-bye.